What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're focusing on the All Blacks. Can they get that all-important hat-trick of victories? Can they make history by becoming 4-time Rugby World Cup champions? Can they do the absolutely impossible after completely dominating world rugby for the past 10 years? The Rugby World Cup that is kicking off on Friday is going to be one of the most competitive tournaments I think we are yet to see. The level of intensity from every single team is magic. The level of competition and want and passion from these teams are electrifying. It is going to be absolutely insane what we're going to witness. I mean, this weekend alone, we're seeing France, Argentina. We're seeing the All Blacks take on South Africa. We've got great games. Japan kicking off this tournament on Friday, what should be one hell of a game. And what we've seen in the build-ups while the teams are training over there in Japan is that the Japanese support has been amazing. I mean, South Africa had 2,000 or 5,000 people at training the other day. Wales had an amazing amount of people that were backing them in the stadiums. It's just awesome. The atmosphere, I think, in Japan at the moment is absolutely unbelievable. And I mean, I can feel it here at home with everyone talking about the World Cup. We're seeing everyone wearing their jerseys. We're seeing whether you're an All Black fan or an Aussie fan, they're Irish fans, they're English fans. We're seeing it here already in South Africa. And it just ignites the passion, ignites the excitement for me. And it just makes us wonder what is going to happen. Who is going to be the world champion of 2019? And will it be the All Blacks or will we see someone else? Well, in today's video, I'm discussing 3 potential teams that could take the All Blacks off the throne and take away that opportunity of what could be a hat-trick of victories. Now, obviously, the All Blacks are going to be favourites to win. I mean, they've achieved so much greatness in their time. But if we go back recently, they've had the odd game where they've come short to the Springboks. They lost to Ireland last year. They drew to the Springboks. England and New Zealand had one hell of an encounter. But the strength and the depth within the All Blacks is amazing. And it's those last 10 to 15 minutes, it's where the All Blacks are at their strength. They come back out of nowhere. And that is going to be the key for these teams going forward in this Rugby World Cup. They need to be able to play a full 80 minutes. If they don't, they aren't going anywhere, and they can kiss their hopes of knocking the All Blacks down or any opportunity of winning the Rugby World Cup. So it's important for them to play 80 minutes. Now, the 3 teams that are in contention here, in my opinion, are obviously, I'm taking the Springboks in because we've had a great year. We're undefeated. We drew with the All Blacks. We've had a lot of great close encounters since that big drumming of 57-0. Next team is Ireland, because Ireland beat the All Blacks last year. They've shown a lot of strength and development. Yes, they had a weak Six Nations, but they are #1 in the world. You can't pretty much write them off. Then I'm going another Northern Hemisphere team, and that is England. England, for me, are the scariest team besides the All Blacks. If I have to pick another one, it is going to be England, because they're just on a strong build at the moment. Yes, they lost to Wales, and yes, they beat Wales, but there's something special that I think Eddie Jones is planning, and we as rugby teams and nations need to be on alert for it. What we forget is that Eddie Jones has coached in Japan. He knows the conditions. He would have prepped England. He would have warmed them up, built them up in order to prepare for this. Hence why I think they have a slight advantage going into this World Cup. They will know the wet conditions well because of being in Europe, but they will have prepped for the heat because Eddie Jones would have known what it's like to coach in Japan and to have been a part of the team when they were there. So I think they've got quite a bit of an advantage over majority of the teams because of that, therefore thinking that they could be a threat. Now, England lost in the dying minutes of the last year's November internationals. It was like the 85th minute or something where the All Blacks came back and won the game in what was one hell of a hard-fought battle. And I still believe through that they can achieve it again. The likes of Vunipola brothers, you've got Maro Toja, you've got Owen Farrell, especially with his leadership, May. I mean, the quality that's coming from England is really, really top class. And therefore, for me, they're a massive threat. I mean, Clive Woodward, I think, has suggested that they could beat the All Blacks in the final of the World Cup. People are predicting England in the final already against either South Africa or New Zealand. But again, it brings me back to Ireland. We cannot write Ireland off. Whether they've had a poor tournament or not, or poor Six Nations, they still have achieved a lot to get back to number one. They've redeemed themselves into something incredible, and they've cleared the history of what was an up and down tournament. I mean, last year was the best year for Irish rugby, bar none. Then they started off shaky, but they've now come back. They're number one in the world. They've got a lot to play for, and that's going to motivate them going into this World Cup. So for me, we cannot write off Ireland because they are guaranteed to meet either South Africa or New Zealand in this World Cup quarter-final. And that is a big point for Ireland, because if they can get past the quarter-final curse, they can very well go on and win the World Cup. What's stopping them? They've done things that they haven't done before. Number one, beating New Zealand, beating Australia in Australia. What's stopping them from getting a quarter-final against either the All Blacks or South Africa? Do not count them out. They are going to be a threat for these teams, and we can't write them off. They've beaten the All Blacks. They can do it again. England came close. They can do it. Then we go to South Africa. As I've mentioned, we've got close battles, and we're on a very good wicket at the moment. We're in a good place for South African rugby. We're motivated, we're determined, we're passionate. Not saying the other teams aren't, they are. But South Africa in a great spell. We have come back from what was 2 years ago one of the worst stages of rugby I've ever seen from a Springbok team, where people didn't even talk rugby. It was like, oh, the Springboks are playing, oh, okay, cool. There was not that much excitement for it, and that is all back. Rassie Erasmus and Siya Kolisi totally transformed this team into something special and unique, and therefore, for me, are the third threat for the All Blacks. The All Blacks can do it. They can get a hat-trick. We've seen what they've achieved. But we're in a different generation of rugby where we are seeing other teams come up and step to the party. And therefore, if there are three teams who could break that hat-trick, who can prevent them from getting that all-important fourth World Championship title, it could be England, Ireland and South Africa, in my humble opinion. But having said that, anything can happen. It's World Cup rugby. It is passionate rugby. It is going to be electric. Whether New Zealand meet England, whether New Zealand meet South Africa, which is going to happen this weekend, or whether New Zealand meet Ireland, one thing's for sure, it's going to be one hell of a game, and we are going to see something special. So all I could say is best of luck to those three teams and to all the other teams. I'm not taking out Wales, Australia, France, all those teams. They've all got potential. But if I have to pick three right now who I see as a threat to the All Blacks, it's England, Ireland and South Africa. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you are new. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. There's a lot more content coming. So hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. We have a lot coming for you. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.